Thank you.
Yes, you bet. It's great to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate
Of
it.
course. I love it. I love it. I love to, explore different audiences and talk about different things. And I really enjoy it. So
Yeah,
I'm happy. I'm happy to be able to do it.
good. I love it. So let's begin our journey with this. I always start with this question. 6 years ago, this pandemic was changing our lives,
Hmm.
changing the world. How did you get through that era, and how has it influenced the way that you live and work in 2026?
I think that the main thing for me was being present.
Yeah.
Like suddenly a lot of things were taken away, and I faced the reality of this is my life and what am I going to do with it. But also was an awakening because I had cancer 3 times before. So when I got COVID, it really hit me back. So it was a moment where I was really thinking, what happened if I don't make it? What's going to happen with my girls? What's going to happen with my life? So it was a time of reflection,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, I still feel like it was a rapturous time. When I look at everybody right now, I feel like we all came to a fork in the road and we had to
Yeah.
decide what kind of verity we were going to live from here on out. Because this wasn't just a little blip on the radar. I mean, there was times during all of that because I have a jazz radio show. I was interviewing musicians. I was like, are we ever going to get out of this? Because as
Right.
hopeful as that musician community was, no one knew when it was going to happen. I mean, there was people that were pivoting, completely scrapping careers in New York City as a musician and moving to Costa Rica to become a surfer. I mean, there was
Yeah.
this huge seismic shift that people were going through.
Right. In a way, give us permission to
Right.
do what we really wanted to do.
So well said. I haven't heard anything as succinct and right on as that is, because that's the way it was. You could
Mhm.
literally do whatever you wanted and there was a level of forgiveness. But I think the only people that didn't benefit were the younger people that was robbed of all that
A
social
100%. And you
emotional.
see that isolated generation now that is so disconnected, not
Yep.
only with the world outside, but with themselves,
Yep.
because they jump into the phone. And that is not a relationship within, that's a relationship with a fake world that is outside.
Yep.
So I talk to kids now that are 17, 18 years old, their social skills are zero.
Uh-huh.
They don't know how it's like a kid with Asperger. They don't know, should I stay, should I leave? And then suddenly you're in a restaurant and you see a family and everybody's looking at their phone.
Uh-huh.
There is no interaction. There is no. I remember when my kids were teenagers, I had a basket, like no phones.
Uh-huh.
You put the phone here and then you sit in the table and you're gonna look at me in the eye and you're gonna talk to me
Yeah.
because I want to know. That's how you create that bond. And those kids lost that
Uh-huh.
because also the parents remember that now they had the freedom, so they wanted to do all these things, and the kids were busy with their phones. So it's okay, they're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So it's partly, what we were living, but also the parents and the society, how they handle the situation instead of doing it as a tribe,
Yep.
Let's all, excuse me, embrace this and
Yep.
see what can we do to make it better. Everybody went in their cubicles
Yep.
and worry about themselves.
Yep. I went to a Wanda Sykes stand-up show last year,
Mm.
and they had those mesh bags that you put your phones in because they
Yeah.
didn't want anything recorded or anything. And everybody was talking. All of this clatter, everybody's walking around, everybody's like feeling their pockets because they're wanting to do something. Nothing was there. And
Right.
and it was kind of good. I mean, it was like it was the way that I grew up. We grew up. Like I we didn't have like I'm watching a show now. Scrubs is coming back on TV, so I'm watching the old shows, and there was
Yeah.
no cell phones.
Right.
No distractions. They weren't texting each other. It wasn't a part of the script because it wasn't a part of that world. And it's like, I think the younger kids I'm hearing, they think those shows are really hip and vintage when there's no cell phones in it, where it's just living their
Right. It's
life.
a
Right?
different reality for
Yeah.
them.
Uh-huh.
It's a reality show of a different time. So it's like
Yep.
we're going to be transported to that period of time, how cool that was.
Uh-huh.
And people were drinking water from a hose in the backyard. Like,
Yes.
what? They don't come in a bottle. You
Uh-huh.
don't have to fill up your whatever stainless, whatever they call it. Like, what? No,
I
you
know.
didn't.
I
You
know.
were thirsty and you opened the sink and you put a glass of water and you drink it. As
Yeah.
simple as that. Life was a lot simpler and
Absolutely.
people were a lot happier
Yep.
because more doesn't mean better.
Right.
And we are in this society that feed us because we are information junkies. So we get fed with all this information that doesn't serve us. It's just data. And if you don't do anything with that data, you're just filling up your brain with whatever, but you're not moving forward.
This is a perfect segue. As an abundance coach and author, let's get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. I'm going to put you in front of 12-year-olds. You're in a school, it's career day, and the kid in the back of the room is like,
Mhm.
"What do you do for a living? How do you synthesize that?"
I think in simple words, I will tell that kid, I help people remember who they are. I help them and become what the world told them they should be so they can be happy and authentic and find that true happiness that lives within themselves.
It almost seems like you have to be alive long enough on this planet to have accumulated enough where you need a fetter through that. I'm 53 and I think about there's still things where I'll go through decades and years and all of these things like how the hell did this happen? Like how did I become this? How is this my central focus? And I think people get buried and they need that level of clarity, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah, well, we're chasing. We're
yeah,
chasing always.
yeah.
What is the my neighbor has? What I
Mhm.
should be to be accepted? Or and I'm gonna tell you this. There is a huge difference, Joe, between belonging and fitting in.
Yeah,
And a lot of people think that they need to become somebody to belong.
yeah,
And that's fitting in
yeah,
because you stop being who you are to become whatever you think your boss, your husband, your kids, your friend wants you to be. So, in my line of work, and I mainly work with women, I help these women to dig in, to unbecome and be in their core. Who am I? What I really want. Because until you don't figure that out,
yeah,
you're going to follow the trend,
yeah.
whatever it is happening outside.
Mhm.
And you lose yourself in the process.
For sure. So, what did you want to be at 12 years old? What was your dream gig? What did you want to grow up and become?
I was very lucky to have Cliff Huxtable as a father. So he told me stories since I was little. And I was a storyteller since I was little because I saw that. But he always said to me, have a child, write a book, make a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah,
So for me, it was always important without even knowing what I wanted to be when I grow up. Like I wanted to have kids, I wanted to be a mom.
yeah,
But as far as profession, I was like, I want to do something that makes a difference,
yeah,
that makes somebody happy, that brings some joy to somebody's life, that inspire others to pay forward. So it wasn't so much a career title, but a feeling.
yeah,
I was talking about this with my husband yesterday. He said, because I used to be an actress many years ago, and my husband says, even when you are going through a tough time, you manage to act differently. And I'm like, I'm not acting. Because the same way that a lot of people live by the golden rule, and I do live by the golden rule too, I also add the fact that I don't want anybody to feel not validated, dismissed, disregarded.
yeah,
So I make an effort to be in the presence of somebody and help them feel that way. If I can be that bridge, then I'm happy.
yeah,
So if you ask me in two words, what are you wanted to do when you grow up? When I was a kid, I wanted to be somebody that make a difference,
yeah,
that make this world better.
yeah,
And as corny as that sound, we can do that with little things. Little things. Sometimes just you smile at somebody
yeah,
and you make their day.
yeah. I love that description because it's almost like a Japanese proverb. There's very basic elemental things that will go into happiness, from taking
Hmm.
care of your health, parenting well, using love as your kind of your superpower, those kinds of things. And I think if we remembered that, just like write a book and have a child, those kinds of things, those
Right,
are absolutely admirable in this existence for us to
right,
have as backbones to make us that much happier. Because there's going to be more things, but if you keep it simple, so to speak, when you fan out and do other things, it's not like you're always chasing the golden ring. There's a level of
right,
satisfaction. You can breathe,
right. And
Um,
and I mean, you are 56, correct?
53, yeah,
53. I'm
yeah,
59.
yeah,
We have gone through everything in this life
yeah,
that a lot of people have not gone through.
yeah,
I feel an obligation to share my lessons. I know that nobody is going to learn the lesson the same way because they are not going through the same journey as I am. But if I can be a billboard of possibility to
yeah,
another woman that perhaps Perhaps it's a single mom or had cancer or is going through a divorce or her husband cheated on her. Whatever it is that I went through and I overcome, why keep it to myself?
Yeah,
Why not
absolutely.
sharing that knowledge and that experience to maybe give a little light at the end of the tunnel to somebody that is going through something difficult?
And we're over halfway done with this journey. So what are we going to do with all this?
Exactly. It's
Right?
like the people that hold on to money, same thing. You're gonna hold on to your money and then you're gonna die, and what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Enjoy your money, give, pay forward, go help somebody,
sure.
empower, create a school, bring water to places where there is no water. Do something. You're very blessed. Share the blessing.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. Who's been your hero? Who's been an inspirational force that's allowed you to evolve to this point in life?
You know, it's so funny you asked me that because I was talking to my best friend like a couple of nights ago. We went to have dinner, and she asked me something similar, and I said, "Well, the same way that I don't have one glass full or empty, I have many glasses, because life is like that. Your
Yeah.
health, your work, your family, your friendship, whatever. I would like to have a round table with like Amelia Earhart
Uh-huh.
or Indira Gandhi or Margaret Thatcher or Cher, Renee Brown, and
Yep.
have them all and get all the information from them and ask them questions. And I admire a lot of women that have been trailblazers, that had broke the patterns, that have been rebellious when it comes to patriarchy, when they want to embrace their dreams and have a clear vision and go for it. So if I cannot tell you I have one hero because I
Sure.
don't.
It would be amazing to see a conversation between like Frida Kahlo and like Jane Goodall, right? Just to see what they would, if you could bring that intergenerational thing in, because that's the other thing about our lives. If we go all the way back to our bloodline, like how did these things get woven into our family stem? And we'll never talk to those people. We'll never really know. Yeah, we can construct a family tree. We can do this DNA thing and send it off, and we know where our blood came from. But when we understand the stories, the the,
Hmm.
the tapestry, the
Right,
quilt of our existence, that's
right.
when we start figuring things out.
Well, it's a conditioning that comes from past
Yeah.
generations,
Uh-huh.
and we accept it because we think that is how it should be
Yeah.
until you have a wake-up call. I had a wake-up call. I
Yeah.
said, it stops with me.
Yeah.
I am not gonna pass on what didn't serve me. I grew up with a mom that was very much in her masculine energy. She was successful at work. She's traveled all over the world. She did a lot of things, but she was emotionally unavailable. So
Yes.
I know that was a void in my life when I was a kid. So I can pass that on or I can stop it with me and change the lineage and
Absolutely.
change the way my kids are going to be raised. So then the next generation is not going to have the same things.
Absolutely. One of the things that's beautiful about this life is that there's strangers or people that aren't necessarily close to us now that have done something kind for us. What's one of the kindest things that ever happened that changed the trajectory of your life?
I think I can tell you I mean, there've been many people that have done wonderful things to me, and I'm very grateful for it. But I remember one time, long, long time ago, I was working for somebody that was very powerful, very wealthy. And he looked at me and he made me feel seen and valued, even though I was starting my
Yeah.
life. I didn't have a huge resume. I wasn't that person. And he made me feel seen. And that brought the bar higher because I wasn't gonna shrink anymore. I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna give discounts anymore because I knew my value. And when you start from that point, then it changes. It
Yes.
changes your relationships. It changes how you see yourself. It changes what you want, what you think you're worthy of or deserving of. So I think one of the nicest things I have received is having the opportunity to be in front of somebody that actually see me.
So when that alarm clock goes off in the morning, you have this obligation to help people, and swimming through people's lives can be murky. You have to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
How do you protect yourself, do a job at a high level, take care of your soul, your family? How does all of that work for you?
Listen, I believe that you can get up in the morning and the same way that you choosing your clothes, you can choose your emotions.
Yeah.
So I wake up in the morning with the understanding that I am complete, I'm a whole, I'm gonna be happy, everything is gonna be great. That's my intention. Of course, life happen, right? But when I am with a client, I don't absorb their energy. I am in a place where I can understand, I can meet them where they are, I can hold space. But when that session finish, it finished. I'm not gonna carry that energy with me. I'm gonna be present. I'm gonna be vulnerable with her. I'm gonna be stern sometimes because you have to call them on it, But in the same token, I don't engage to the point that I carry on that energy with me. It stopped when that session finished.
So when did you know that this was the profession for you? Was there a client? Was there an epiphany? Was there a moment? We all have these moments in our lives
Hmm.
that validate that we made the right choice.
Right.
We all choose and search, and there's all these things. It's difficult being human. But when did you know that this was your true calling? This was what you're supposed to be doing on this planet?
I think it was like 17 years ago. My oldest daughter is 33. Excuse me. My oldest daughter is 33. And when she was a teenager, I started to get calls from other parents to say, hey, I having this problem with my daughter. You have a great relationship. My kid was always a designated driver. And I was a single mom. So they were like, how are you managing going to work, being a single mom, doing all these things with three kids, three daughters in Las Vegas? And they are in integrity and da 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 da. And first thing I said is the four agreements were the other parent for me. I mean, I raised them with the four agreements, but also the communication, the respect, the integrity. So I started coaching other teenagers just to help my friends
Hmm.
until one day one of us said to me, you should be doing this for a living because it just comes naturally. It's enjoyable to you. You love it. And I have worn a lot of hats. I mean, I've been a journalist, I've been an author, I've been an actress, I produce shows. So I wore a lot of hats. But it really brings me joy when I am one of the tools that somebody is using to become the better version.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized. Okay, this is my calling. This is what I enjoy the most. And my dad used to say, if you find something that you enjoy, you're not working a day in your life. So I'm like, oh, I think this sounds like a good deal for me.
So on the whole side of art, what was the film? What was the book? What was the art that swayed you that made you want to be a creative?
Since I was very young.
Yeah.
I mean, I started acting by accident. I was walking on the street, a producer saw me, offered me a soap opera, and suddenly that was the number one soap opera in South America. I was in 38 countries, and I became famous overnight.
Yeah.
So that chip is not in me anymore. It's not that I'm chasing that because I already had it when I was very young. But art is a way of expressing myself. I went to art school. That was the first thing I did. Then I went to study production, direction, TV, and film. Part of creating too. I was editing. So one thing was leading me to another one. But writing was always part of my life. I journaled since I was very young. I had diaries. I love to tell stories. I used to do stories with my girls where I would say something and they would finish the story. So I would motivate the creativity and the possibilities. So that was always part of my life. I write children's books about very difficult subjects like divorce, grief, secrets. And those books, I wrote them because I wish I would have had them when my kids were little to understand a lot of things. But when I had COVID, going full circle to your first question, and I felt that something could happen to me and I didn't have anything to leave behind for the times that my kids might need me, I wrote the my Brighter Days book, this one here, and it's 88 most important lessons learned in life for women that want to increase their confidence, resilience, and courage. And I wrote this book with lessons. I didn't plan to have 88. I just brought things that I have learned, not specifically by somebody or somebody coming and teaching me, but my own life experience. And I thought that was a way that I could share my journey with other people at the same time that I was leaving that behind for my daughters. So it's always with the purpose of serving.
Yeah. So when you see that big, huge word retirement flash up in your mind, what do you
Mhm.
think about? What is the thought you have about retirement?
If you ask me for an image, and I teach manifestation, so it's very clear in my head, I imagine myself sitting in the porch of a house in front of the beach, and my daughters and my grandkids are playing, and I feel fulfilled, and I have the ability to have total control of my time, and I'm enjoying, and I'm present, and I'm happy, and I have joy, and I have harmony, and I have peace in my life. That's retirement for me.
So are you done working at that point, or do you, because you love this, you continue to do it?
I think I probably would be working at a different way.
Yeah,
Probably I will be talking more to crowds, not every day having clients and stuff like that. I probably will still writing, but in my own pace, the way I want it, whenever I want to. Not so much like right now, I have days that I record my podcast, days that I have, my clients. So it's very structured. I think that when I am in a place where I can just retire, it will be by choice
yeah,
whenever I want to do it. And that for me is also success. Doing what you want whenever you want to.
yeah. So speaking of your podcast, if you could interview one person alive on the planet right now that might help you on your journey that you're fascinated by, who would you interview?
Share.
Okay. I love it. We put it out in the universe. That's the bottom line.
I would totally interview her. If Whitney Houston would be alive, I probably wouldn't want to have her or
Yeah.
Tina Turner because not because they're famous, but because they had a life with struggles and resilience and courage. And those are like medals that I want to carry with me. So I will want to be inspired by them. I would want to sit with them and ask them, how did you feel in that moment? And what was the feel that made you move your foot to take the next step?
You know, it's interesting. Coming from jazz radio, one thing that if I could get into a time capsule and go back and see, I would want to see Ella Fitzgerald as a little girl walk on that stage of the Apollo for the first time, shy, and everybody's hooting and like, what is this little girl going to do? And she just blew the roof off of that place. Those are the kinds of things, though,
Yeah.
because those moments happen, and
Yeah.
that's what happened to them as creatives. It just
And what was
transformed.
going through their mind and what emotions they were feeling and how did they feel afterwards.
Yep,
It's like when people ask me, who do you want to sit with? I want to sit with people that didn't hear the noise,
yep,
that didn't get distracted by even by their own intrusive thoughts, that they had a clear vision where they wanted to go and they went for it and they didn't care about the how.
yep.
They just knew the why and the what and they went for it.
And that's it. So
Mhm.
let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight, you ran into the 16-year-old version of you and you walked into a room and there was a projector and you hit play and it was a 60-second highlight reel of the life that you've lived so far, would that young version of you believe that you've lived this life that you've lived so far?
No, she probably would think this is fiction. This is impossible. Sometimes, Joe, I look at my life and I look back and I go, well, I'm really a badass. Look
Uh-huh.
all the things that I have done.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes get impressed because you don't realize when you're going through it
Yeah.
and you think that this is it, I'm not going to be able to overcome this. But then you look back and you go, wait a minute. And if you are capable to grab all that as an evidence of your potential, of your worth, of your enoughness, then you're not going to let anybody stop you.
Yeah,
The sky is the limit. But
for
we
sure.
forget all the things we have done.
Uh-huh, for sure. So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, everyone that gets your books, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm a bridge. I perceive myself as that. But I'm a mediator very much,
Yeah.
and I always been. I'm a peace seeker. I am uh, somebody who wants to understand. I'm very curious, but I think I'm a bridge, in between what it is and what it could be.
So, as an adventurous spirit,
Hmm.
soul, if you could get into a time machine and go back in time and see one event in human history, and it wouldn't create a weird tear in time, you would just be able to witness something happen, unfold before your eyes. What historical time capsule piece would you love to see happen?
Mm, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Or you could go into the future. Would you want to see the future, or would you want to see something that already happened?
I'm honestly very concerned about the future.
Yeah.
I'm very concerned about the future. So I try not to think about it because if my mind goes there, it will go crazy. But I think if I go back in time, I probably would want to be, I probably would want to be when the war end,
Yeah.
when the Second World War end,
Yeah.
when people finally said, "Oh my gosh, this is over.
Yeah.
We're gonna have peace now."
I kind of feel like there's a little bit of that going on in America today.
Yeah,
When things that are happening stop, I think there's going
yeah.
to be a triumphant hallelujah all at
Like,
once.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
finally, when I remember there's a movie, It's a Beautiful Life, I think is the title because I'm sometimes I messed up the titles, but it's about this guy who goes and it's a Jewish guy that goes to a camp and he has his little boy and he makes it wonderful every single day, even though they're going through so much. And at the end, when you see that little boy in front of that big tank and they say the war is over and you see the joy of everyone, like finally, the next generation is going to have a different life.
Yeah.
I would like to witness that joy.
Yep, absolutely. So, speaking of perfect segue, Brighter Days is the bestseller. If anyone
Hmm.
wants to hire you, reach out. They're curious. Any of the wonderful work you're doing, where's the best place to go?
My website or my Instagram, and they both have my name, Claudia Noriega-Bernstein. So they can find me there. They can DM me. They can buy my book in Amazon or on my website. Um, all the information is there. It's very easy. They just gotta look for my name, and that's that.
Okay, Claudia, this has been absolutely wonderful. What a vibrant, wonderful spirit you have. Thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck. Have a great new year.
Thank you. Same to you, Joe.
You bet.
Bye.
Thank you.